Okay. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to all of you, whatever part you are in the world. International Internship University, IIU, is the world's first internship-based virtual university, building a better and brighter future for all young learners, and is committed to provide quality, accessible, affordable, skill-based and location-independent education to learners across the world. IIU is providing access to more than 1,000 courses and internships to their e-learners across the globe with a team of high caliber and experienced global educators. IIU has been accredited and affiliated with the World Education Organization, WEO, and International Accreditation Organization, IAO, and collaborated with all the world's top universities and educational institutions through the platform of Massive Open Online Courses, MOOC. IIU provides various certificates and diploma courses. There is always that one person who has the vision, the thought, the idea behind a successful venture and organization. And we talk about the man behind the success of IIU is none other than our beloved co-founder, Mr. Pishut Pandit. He concocted the world's first virtual internship university during a pandemic, the International Internship University, this IIU. Hello to all of you. This is New Trends in Education. My name is Marcela Villan. This is me in the photo there, and this is me here face to face with you. I am from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and this is magical. This is wonderful that I can be talking to you from such a long, far away place, right, that we are. Yes, here for me, it's early morning, it's 9:30. If you are in India, I know that it's your afternoon, it's your evening, and this is really a miracle that we can be together thanks to this IIU University. As you can see here in my presentation, I am a global educator. I am a qualified teacher in Argentina, and I have worked as a teacher for more than 30 years, 32, 33 to be precise. And along my course, my career, I have worked at all levels and with all sorts of students, that is to say, children, adolescents, adults. At the moment, I work in a bilingual school in my area, in Buenos Aires, where I live. I teach environmental education and I teach global perspectives, a wonderful subject for our adolescents, and that will be connected with my topic, with the topic of my presentation today. And as a global perspectives teacher, I am into lots of global projects. I work a lot with IIU University, but also, as you can see here in my slide, I am a Teach SDGs ambassador. I am a Global Lighthouse family member. I am a T4 country ambassador for Argentina. I work with Global Teachers Club. And I am a global schools advocate, right? Together with many people from India as well. So it's a pleasure for me to be presenting here today. Some of my achievements, as you can see, I've been a qualified teacher of English since 1996. I am TESOL certified. I have a diploma in school management, a diploma in neurosciences and education, a diploma in social emotional learning, a diploma in innovation and technology, very helpful in the pandemic times. I am environmental and education. I have an environmental education and global citizenship program from UNESCO here in Buenos Aires. I am an advocate for the Global Schools program belonging to the United Nations. And I am a passionate lifelong learner. I always learn something new, and that I am really grateful for that. Every day there is always something new to learn. And so just to begin, and I will be having a look at my Facebook so that I can be connected with you, right? Here we are, let's see. Yes, IIU. Let's see if I can see you now. Let's see how you are feeling. Just to begin, let's see if you can get connected with one of these wonderful cats and you can think how you are feeling, right? Let's see. Yes, if you can tell me how you're feeling with this. Let me see if I can find you here. Beam, beam, beam. Well, I can't find you here now, but anyway, you must be there. So I'm sure that you can get connected with all these cats. And I hope that you are feeling like number 6 and not like number 4. I really hope that you are feeling like not like number 7 now, okay? I really hope that you are happy to see me here. Did you feel interested in what I am going to tell you? So let's start. And as Sir Ken Robinson said once, and you know that our dear Sir Ken Robinson, who worked really hard for transforming our education, well, really, he died during the pandemic, but this is one of his most wonderful phrases and one that I always remember. And it is that the fact is that given the challenges that we face nowadays in this 21st century, education does not need to be reformed. It needs to be transformed. The key to this transformation is to put students in an environment where they want to learn and where they can naturally discover their true passions. And that is what we need to do. We don't need to reform education. We need to transform education, especially after this great pandemic that we have all suffered. So our agenda today, what is it that my presentation is going to deal with? What is that these new trends in education is going to show you? First of all, why we need to transform education. Then what exactly we need to do, and I will be talking about global citizenship education. And finally, how we can do so. And in that sense, I am going to tell you what new trends we need to follow to transform our education. So let's start with the why. Well, have a look at these faces. I imagine that all these faces must be familiar, okay, for you, right? I imagine that all these faces, wherever part in the world you're in, look familiar. All these attitudes look familiar. Bored adolescents, right? Okay, adolescents that don't know what to do while you're speaking or that are thinking about somebody else, something else. Oh, have a look at this one. He's really angry. He doesn't want to be in this class. And what about this one? My God, what an attitude. Well, so these faces look familiar because this is the real adolescence or childhood that we are going through. But I mean, is it good for us? Is it good for teachers to have this kind of children, adolescents in our classes? Of course, it's not. And we have all the possibilities to change this. Now, why is it that these people, these adolescents, these children are like this? First of all, because 21st century is offering them a different context from the one we used to have in our previous century or 20 years ago. A very different context. Nowadays, there is a big demographic change. There are lots of environmental problems. There is increased inequality in our world. There is a lot of political uncertainty. These wars that we are going through. Globalization has made a very different world for them. Technological advances and a very important pandemic, as the picture in the middle can show you, a very important pandemic which has transformed all our lives. So of course, they are going through a very different process, a very different century from the one we used to know. And then what is it that we need to transform? What is it that we need to change as teachers? First of all, content. And we, teachers of English, has a very big possibility in our hands. We, teachers of English, has a great and wonderful possibility that we do not need to miss. Our 21st century students need to know much more than the rules of grammar. We need to teach, of course, passive voice, reported speech, and tenses and all that. But we, teachers of English, have the possibility of introducing them to a new world through the use of a lingua franca. English is not your mother tongue. English is not my mother tongue, but we are communicating. And this has opened us a big door to this world. And this is what we need to do with our students. That's why the job of IIU University is extremely important. We have to remember that we don't just teach a language. We have to remember that we also teach human beings. And these human beings have to be the center of our attention in any class, not just the rules of grammar. These human beings that we have in front of us that are going through a very different time from the one we used to know, and we need to adapt to this new world that they are living in. And for that, we have global citizenship. I don't know if you have heard about this, but what is global citizenship then? Global citizenship, as it says here, is the UNESCO's response to all the challenges that these adolescents are going through. It works by empowering learners of all ages to understand that they are in a global, not in a local world, right? And they have global and no local issues that they have to care for. And they have to become active promoters of more peaceful, tolerant, inclusive, secure, and sustainable societies. So global citizenship education, global citizenship education is a strategic area of UNESCO's education sector program and builds on the work of peace and human rights education. Global citizenship aims to empower learners of all ages to assume active roles globally and locally. I will teach you how in a minute. In building more peaceful, tolerant, inclusive, and secure societies, as we said. So it is based mainly on three domains, three pillars that we need to work on this global citizenship education. Cognitive, of course, because they need the knowledge and the thinking skills necessary to better understand the world and the complexities they live in. Social emotional, because they need the values, the attitudes, and the social skills that enable learners to develop effectively, psychologically and physically, and to enable them to live together with others respectfully and peacefully, especially after this pandemic we have been through. And behavioral, because they need the perfect conduct, performance, and the practical application and engagement to work in this globalized world. And these are the basic four pillars of education on which global citizenship education is based. And they belong to the Delos reports of 1996, who proposed this framework for the education that is based on learning to know, that is to say, mainly knowing the core subjects, which of course includes civics, and includes government, the learning to do, by including the four so-called C's of education, that is to say, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. The learning to be, which means including social and cross-cultural skills, right? Sense-making skills, metacognitive skills, the fact of learning to learn, right? And of creating habits of lifelong learners. Education does not stop at school. And the learning to live together. That is to say, value and diversity, empathy, including teamwork, interconnectedness, right? Digital citizenship, right? And intercultural competence. Learning through values, right? Something very important nowadays, and that we, as teachers of English, or whatever kind of teacher you are, we do not need to forget. As I said before, our subject is it's just a means to get to these adolescents, to get to these children, to get to these students we are teaching, right? Or adults, or whoever you are teaching. Our subject is just the means, but then we don't need to forget that we are teaching human beings. And what is a global citizen then, right? We are teaching global citizenship to make global citizens. What is a global citizen? A global citizen is one that will learn to live sustainably, who will learn to tackle social justice, who will believe all children and young people have a right to an education, who will respect and value diversity, who will be open and curious, and who will take action towards equity. in a world which is really sometimes going the wrong way. Now, how is it that we are going to do this? And here we are going to go to the new trends in education. First of all, by introducing to our students to the Sustainable Development Goals. What are the Sustainable Development Goals? The Sustainable Development Goals were created in the year 2015 by the United Nations. In the year 2000, the United Nations saw that there were some issues that they needed to work on, and they created the Millennium Goals. At that time, they were just 8 goals that were created to be able to help the world somehow. Those 8 goals, the Millennium Goals, were created for developing countries only. And they had a span of 15 years. They had to be, let's say, reached by the year 2015. When the year 2015 arrived, when the year 2015 came, the United Nations saw that some of those 8 goals had been partially achieved. For example, the access to primary education by all children around the world. And when I say children, I mean girls and boys at the same time. For example, the cure of some very important illnesses like HIV, those have been reduced, those problems have been reduced, but not completely achieved. So the United Nations said there are more issues that we need to work on, and they created these 17 sustainable goals. This time, United Nations in the year 2015 incorporated not only developing countries, but also developed countries. And that's how now the whole world has to be connected with these sustainable development goals. The whole world needs to know about these sustainable development goals. And you, as a teacher, have the obligation of showing your students what these 17 sustainable development goals are. These 17 sustainable goals are absolutely interconnected. By working on them, you are working on all the others, right? You have no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And of course, the partnership for the goals, because we all need to work together. And the most important part is that now more and more people are really taking action. I am going to show you a video, and if you just let me share sound. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, let me see. Okay, let's go to YouTube. Right, a very interesting video that you will surely love. This is about, now this one. Wait a minute. Okay, where is it? Here it is. Wait a minute, I have it here. And I started to look, here it is, with the people. Pay attention to this wonderful video.
We can be.
We must be the first generation
To end extreme poverty.
The generation
most determined
to fight injustice
and inequalities.
The generation that saves the planet from climate change.
And this is how it will get done.
The global goals.
a 15-year plan
For everyone, everywhere.
with no one left behind.
We will live in a world
where nobody
anywhere
lives in extreme poverty.
Where no one
goes hungry.
where no one
wakes in the morning
Asking if there will be food today.
We will live in a world where no child has to die of
Diseases we know how to cure.
And where proper health care
is a lifelong right for us all.
We will live in a world
where everyone goes to school
and education gives us the knowledge
And skills
for a fulfilling life.
We will live in a world where all girls and all women have equal opportunities
to thrive
And be powerful
and safe.
We cannot succeed if half the world is held back. We will live in a world
where all people can get clean water
and proper toilets at home,
At school.
and at work.
We will live in a world where there's sustainable energy for everyone.
Heat, light,
and power for the whole planet.
Without destroying the planet.
We'll live in a world where economies prosper.
New wealth.
Lead to decent jobs.
for everyone.
And we will live in a world where our industry,
our infrastructure, and our
Best innovations.
Are not just used to make money, but to make all our lives better.
we will live in a world
Where prejudices and extremes of inequality
Are defeated
inside our countries.
and between different countries.
where people live in cities and communities
that are safe, progressive,
and support everyone who lives there.
where we replace
What we consume.
Planet where we put back.
What we take out of the earth.
We live in a world that is decisively rolling back threat
climate change.
where we restore
And protect the life in our oceans and seas.
or restore
and protect
Life on land.
The forests.
animals, the earth itself.
With peace between and inside countries.
Where all governments are open.
And answer to us for what they do at home and abroad.
And the justice rules.
With everyone equal before the law.
where all countries and we their people
Work together.
partnerships of all kinds
To make these goals a reality.
These are the United Nations global goals.
For sustainable development.
Let's get to work.
So these are our dear global goals, right? But I've got one more thing to tell you, because we talk a lot and we mention a lot sustainable development. What is sustainable development? Pay attention to this one now, and we continue the presentation.
This September, 193 countries will meet at the UN to adopt new global goals. These 17 goals provide a roadmap that will help the world achieve sustainable development. But what exactly is sustainable development, and how does it affect us? Sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. But what does that mean? Everyone understands the need to grow their economies, but not everyone takes into account the negatives that unbalanced economic growth can have on the environment and on people's well-being. It's time to change that by looking at the world in a different way. The Sustainable Development Goals will help us to do that. Sustainable development is about the big picture. It's about improving the lives of everyone, everywhere, and achieving all these things together. But it's also about the details. That means we want economies to grow, companies to thrive, and people to have decent work. We want to create new, innovative technologies, but not by harming the environment. We want everyone to have access to nutritious food regardless of where they live. We want affordable and quality education for everybody, not just a few. We want freedom of speech, but we don't want that to mean violence. But how can we achieve all of this, and where do we even start? Well, the 17 goals will mean member states, alongside civil society stakeholders and major groups, will be working together for the next 15 years, looking at ways we can do business differently so that everyone gains. With these 17 global goals as our guide, we can achieve sustainable development and live in a world where people and planet benefit. But we have to act now. This is the time for global action. To find out how you can get involved and learn more about the goals, go to www.un.org/sustainable development.
As it says there, this is the time to act. We have to act now, right? So let's go back to the presentation. And if we have to act now and we have to preserve our future, we need to create a new generation. And we teachers have a very big role to play, because I mean, we have these children in our hands. We have these adolescents in our hands. We cannot do like this. We need to open their eyes, right? And we have to make them see the world they live in. And that's how the Sustainable Development Goals are going to help us. The Sustainable Development Goals were created by the United Nations for governments around the world, of course, but we cannot all leave this in hands on our governments, because governments alone won't be able to do much. We need to help. And that's why some years ago, Antonio Guterres, who is the Secretary General for the United Nations, asked all people to join in. And as you could see in the video I showed you a few minutes ago, lots of actors, football players, technology, people connected with technology were connected in that video to show us that we all need to be together, that we all need to act. But we as teachers have a big role to play, as I told you, because we need to take this to our classrooms. We need to show them, to show our students what the Sustainable Development Goals are. Now, how can we do that? One of the SDGs number 4, is connected with quality education. As the video said, we need all children to have access to quality education, not just a few. All children around the world need to have the same possibilities, right? So one of the targets in SDG number 4 says that by 2030, because these Sustainable Development Goals also have 15 years to be achieved, they were created in the year 2015, and we need to achieve them by the year 2030. According to Sustainable Goal number 4, it says that by the year 2030, we need to ensure that all learners acquire knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development. That is to say, to take care of our future, right? To take care of the needs today without compromising the needs of the future, including, among others, through education for sustainable development and sustainable lifestyles, human rights, gender equality, promotion of a culture of peace and non-violence, global citizenship, and appreciation of cultural diversity and of culture's contribution to sustainable development. How important all this sounds, how wonderful all this will be if we manage to achieve it by the year 2030. But we only have 8 years to go. We are already in the year 2022. 7 years, 8 years have already passed, okay? And if it is true that something has been done, we have been through a wonderful, or not wonderful, but a great pandemic, which has put all this back, right? Because unfortunately, we know that during the pandemic, not much could be done, right? We were not able to be connected face to face, and so not many people from the United Nations were able to help others, right? So now we have 8 years to go, and we have to take advantage of these 8 years we need here. Let me see. So, what is it that we need to do in our classrooms? First of all, we need to work hard to encourage our learners to be curious, using an inquiry-based learning approach. That is to say, students need to be curious about these topics that you are going to be introducing them to, about these 17 Sustainable Development Goals, because they need to know the world they live in. It's not just what surrounds them. It's a whole world they will be living in. Now they are children, now they are adolescents. In 8 years' time, maybe they are having access to the workplace, and they will be working in connection with other countries around the world. So they need to know what happens in these other countries around the world. You will also have to open your students' eyes to the world around them then. You have to develop project-based learning on real-world issues based on the SDGs. That's a great solution, and that's the one I take at school. I will be telling you about it in a minute. You need to promote cultural awareness and critical thinking in the classroom. You need to create virtual exchanges for them in which they interact with students from other countries, because they need to meet who is behind the school, who is, let's say, when they leave school, who is in the world, who is around the world, how that person feels, how that person lives, okay? They need to know about that. You need to make your students collaborate with and act on issues that have both a global and a local impact. Because you know that all these 17 development goals, it's not something that is, let's say, far away from you. All these things are also local issues, not only global issues, right? You need to know that the world becomes what we teach. So what you teach your learners today will be what they will do in the future. Yeah, take that into account always. And you will be working, by working on these 17 development goals, on the 4 C's I mentioned before: critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. Now, how can we do that? We are teachers of English, we teach a language, yes, it's true. How can we introduce the 17 development goals into our lessons? Well, I have a great advantage because I teach environmental education, as I told you, and I teach global perspectives. So for me, it has been very easy to introduce the 17 development goals into my lessons. I work with the global goals every day, the sustainable development goals, which are also called the global goals. I work with them every class, every day. And I have a great possibility because of the subjects I teach. But if you're a teacher of English, if you're a teacher of a language, right, you can introduce the 17 development goals by means of different activities that you do in class. For example, I am sure that you teach or you work with readers, right, and you teach literature somehow. Well, start showing them, instead of the typical classics we used to have, which are also very important because our students need to know the classics of our language. Also, start teaching them more updated books. For example, A Long Walk to Water. I don't know if you have heard of this or if you know it. I have the PDF if you want it. I can send it to you later on. This book by Linda Sue Parker tells the story of African people and how they search for water. African girls and African women, how they search for water every day, the problem that they have to get access to water, right? And how they solve the issue, how they solve this problem. So, I mean, it's a wonderful story that you can connect with sustainable goal number 6, which is about clean water and sanitation. Right? And by working on this story, you can work on sustainable goal number 6. We also have The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, which is a very known story, well-known story, and a very well-known film as well. You can find it in Netflix, right? Okay. This story, which is a real story, is based on a boy who invented a machine to create energy for his people in Africa as well. So, I mean, there you can connect this story with sustainable goal connected with energy, clean energy, affordable energy number 7. Right? So by reading a story, you will be also working on one of the sustainable development goals. You will be opening your students' eyes to a more global issue. You can also show them pictures, videos. I'm sure that you work with films in your classes. Well, okay, that's right. Here you have The Lorax, okay? The Lorax is a wonderful film for children that is connected with environmental education and what happens with trees and what happens with nature, right? So you will be working on sustainable goal number 13, right, which is climate action. And by working on sustainable goal number 13, you will be working on sustainable goal 14 and 15, life on land and life below water, right? Then you will also show them, you can also show them this documentary, An Inconvenient Truth by Al Gore, the ex-American vice president, who tells all the story of the climate change, the global warming, right? Okay, how it started, in what situation we are nowadays, right? So by introducing them to this documentary, you will be working on sustainable goal 13 as well. And then you can work a lot with infographics. Infographics are wonderful ways of introducing them to new language and to the real situation of what is happening nowadays. I'm going to show you some websites also. Pay attention to this one. www.globalgoals.org is this website, which has wonderful material to take to your classes, right? Here you have the global goals, what we can do, take action, right? Okay, and here you have what action you can take towards the global goals, for example, towards poverty, and here you have videos, and here you have different information that you can take to your classes, right? Also, the world's largest lesson. The world's largest lesson is another website website that you can use in which you have, well, you can change language here, right? You can go to English so that you can see it better, right? And here you will have material, right, that you can use, videos. Well, I cannot change, but if you wish, it should be able to change. Now it doesn't change, but I am sure that you will find it in English because it is, right? And the idea is that you have lots of videos, lots of readers that you can take to your classes, right? And in which you will be able to find how to work on each global goal. So lots of things, lots of activities that we can take to your classrooms. But the most important for me, the most important action that we need to take is we need to break the classroom walls. What do I mean by that? Do I mean go with a hammer and start breaking the walls? No, I need open your classrooms, globalize your classroom. Here it is. Globalize the classroom. Students have a world around them, a world who is also suffering from lots of these issues. Because if we pay attention to the 17 development goals, they are global goals, they are global issues. We have poverty everywhere. We have problems with water everywhere. We have problems with food and hunger everywhere. We have problems with education everywhere. Problems with energy everywhere. We have problems with animals and life on land everywhere. Climate action is a global issue. It affects all of us. So, I mean, we need to globalize our classrooms, and we need our students to get connected with other people around the world so that they see, right, and they hear from these people around the world what they are living, what problems they are going through, and what situation they are living in. And that's how I became a global educator, by introducing my students to lots of global projects, right? I got connected with people from different parts around the world. I got connected with people from Sri Lanka, from India, from Turkey, from the United States, from Pakistan. Here we have people from the United States, but working in Malawi, right, with the problem of water, right? Working in Kakuma refugee camp, it was a wonderful experience to be able to make my students get connected with Kakuma refugee camp and learning what they are doing, which is really great. So, I mean, by doing all this, by introducing them to these global projects, by having these kind of connections in your classes, you will be able to show them what action we need to take to be able to make a better world. But they also need to know, because I know that some of you will tell me, well, Marcela, but I don't have access to internet connection in my classroom, or I don't have access to this kind of, let's say, computers in my classroom. I cannot get connected at all. And so I can tell you, don't worry, because you can also help the world. We need to make our students see the world around them, but we also have to teach them that we have to go from global to local, because it is true that we don't have the means to go and work in Africa, and we don't have the means to go and work in some other parts of the world to help them. But there are lots of local issues that we need to change, that we need to help to be able to make a better world. These sustainable development goals, right, can be taken to a local issue, right, can be, let's say, centered into a local area, and we can help as well. So we need to go from local to global to show them, but we also need to go from global to local to work on these topics. So what can we do? They need to know, they need to ask themselves these questions. Okay, we have lots of problems around the world, but what can I do to help? They have to know that small actions they take multiplied by a lot of people will create a big change. So every single action we take, small as it is, right? But if we all do this in the world, this will lead to the big change we need. This will lead to the achievement of these 17 development goals by the year 2030. And that's how I work at the school. It says, we must cultivate our garden. This is a wonderful phrase by Voltaire. When man was put in the Garden of Eden, he was put there so that he should work. which proves that man was not born to rest. So don't rest, start working, start taking action now. And this is how I work with my students. We take action now. I work with project-based learning. That is to say, we choose one of these 17 development goals. They choose the 17 development goal they want to work on, they feel they are interested in. I give them voice and choice. They choose what they want to do. So once they have chosen their sustainable development goal, they start making a question which will lead them all around the work. The project that we'll do will take 2 months or 3 months of classes. I usually see them twice a week, 1 hour a day. That is to say 2 hours a week. And that's how I work with them. I make them choose this goal. I make them form a question connected with a goal. For example, if we are living with poverty, the question can be, how much has poverty increased in my area? And they start looking for information. When they look for information, they always go there, they are researching, and they have to use their critical thinking to see the correct website and not deal with fake news, which is also another very important issue. You have to teach your students how to look for information on the internet, and that is part of digital citizenship. And what they do is to look for information, what is happening with poverty at a global level, at a national level in our country, and at a local level in our area. Once they have found all this situation, once they have got connected with this all this situation, they start thinking about the courses of action they can take to help to this issue, to help to this problem. And they will try to find one way in which they can act. And once they have found that way, they have to act. For example, one of the projects that one of my students did at school last year was, in connection with poverty, collect food to take to places in need. So he collected food at school, he collected non-perishable, let's say, food to take to some shanty towns that we have here near our area, right? Because Argentina is a developing country and we have a lot of issues in connection with that. And so then when everything was collected, right, we took all the things that he collected to these places, to these people in need. And he felt great because he was helping others. And I told him that by helping others, he was helping the world. What are the benefits of working this kind of way? Well, first of all, that you will be creating empathy on your students, a very important value nowadays. We all need to have empathy towards the others. By having empathy towards the others, we will feel the need to act towards others. We will see the value of multiple perspectives, not only their own, right? They will learn that other people may not live the same way, may not think the same way, but we need to, let's say, live together, yeah? And we need to live in the same way, in the same world, right? And we need to be together to be able to help us, right? So that's wonderful to see the multiple perspectives we have in the world. There are things that I eat that you don't eat. There are things that we do that you don't do in other parts of the world. But that does not mean that we cannot be together and that we cannot help the world in the same way. You will be creating a commitment to promoting equity all around the world. You will be creating a positive belief in your student, a sense of hope, a sense that they are part of the solutions for this world. And in that way, you will be changing those faces that I showed you at the beginning in your classes. They won't be like this anymore because they will be feeling eager to participate, yeah? Active engagement, active learning, voice and choice. They choose what they want to act on. They choose how they want to help the world, and many other benefits that you will find along the way. I can tell you that, I can assure you that I started working with these 17 development goals 6 years ago, 2017, more or less, and my world, my class has changed completely. So what is the most important thing for us, teachers of English? That our students will be using English all the time. Because, I mean, there is no other way of using the internet. There is no other way of getting connected with people around the world if we don't choose our language franca, English, right? And that is what we want to do. We'll be improving the communication. We will be improving their language, okay? We will be improving their vocabulary, right? English as a lingua franca, right? Your students will be speaking English all the time. And for us, it's really important. And the best thing is that you will be building trust in the English language classrooms. Students won't be like that anymore. Students will feel confident. They will feel confident that their language will serve a purpose. Yeah, and that is what we need to do. So you must do it. You need to do it now. And we all need to do it around the world. Because remember, small actions multiplied by a lot of people will create a better world. So be the change you want to see in this world, please, right? If you want to change the world, start acting now. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make in the world. Pay attention to this video that I am going to show you now, and we are reaching the end of my presentation.
Create videos for your business with hundreds of templates designed to get them performing their
We are constantly being bombarded by problems that we face, and sometimes we can get completely overwhelmed. The story of the hummingbird is about this huge forest being consumed by a fire. All the animals in the forest come out, and they are transfixed as they watch the forest burning, and they feel very overwhelmed, very powerless, except this little hummingbird. It says, I'm going to do something about the fire. So it flies to the nearest stream, takes a drop of water, and it puts it on the fire and goes up and down, up and down, up and down, as fast as it can. In the meantime, all the other animals, much bigger animals, like the elephant with a big trunk, could bring much more water. They are standing there helpless, and they are saying to the hummingbird, what do you think you can do? You're too little. This fire is too big. Your wings are too little. And you're big, so small. You can only bring a small drop of water at a time. But as they continue to discourage it, it turns to them without wasting any time and tells them, I am doing the best I can. And that, to me, is what all of us should do. We should always feel like a hummingbird. I may feel insignificant, but I certainly don't want to be like the animals watching as the planet goes down the drain. I will be a hummingbird. I will do the best I can.
And as the video said, yeah, we have to do the best we can. Yeah. We won't be able to help the world alone. We won't be able to change the world alone. But if we all act together, and I am really grateful because I'm reading your comments in Facebook, right? And I really see that you all want to act now. We will be able to change the world. If you want to change the future, you must change what you are doing in the present. So start changing your classes. Start introducing them, your students, to a world they need to know to be able to act together, right? The greatest lesson I have learned in life is that I still have a lot to learn. And that's why we are here. That's why we, IIU today, trying to learn more and more on how we can change our classes. These are the new trends in education I wanted to show you. So, what is your takeaway today? What is it that you have learned? Let's see, I want to see your Facebook comments, yeah? Let's see, what is it that you have learned? What is it that you are going to take to your classes today? No comments? What is it? Let's see. I want to read you. Yeah, we can do the best we can. Very good. We still have a lot to learn. Yes, Charles, thank you. Yes, of course, it's like that. Okay, we need to do that. Oh, Armina, how are you? Education always unites us, no matter what corner of the world we are in. Yeah, and this is what I said at the beginning. You are so far away from me and we are together. Make a change, of course. Yeah, I want to be a hummingbird. How wonderful, how wonderful. I want to be a hummingbird too. I am a hummingbird and I want to be connected with all the hummingbirds around the world. Wow, Juan Jose, where are you from? You must be from a Spanish country. Se debe ser un cambio. You must be a change, right? Okay, yes, of course. Wonderful. How much change the world needs? Yes, of course. Yes, it is. Okay, thank you, Mina. Okay, education brings us together. Yes, Patricia. Yeah, I don't know where you're from, but education brings us together. Yes, of course. Learning is life. Of course, yeah, of course. Focusing on topics that are related to the outside world. Yeah, you need to do that. Focus your classes on that. I can do the best I can by doing the best all the time. Wonderful. I can do it. Yes, of course, we all can. You must make change as a young person. Wonderful. I'm done with, okay, perfect. I love all your comments. And I am really grateful that we feel like that, right? And that we can be connected and that we are going to change the world together. This is what we need to do. So if you want to contact me, my name is Marcela Villan. As I told you at the beginning, I am in LinkedIn, I am on Twitter, I am on Instagram, 21st Century Tools. Yeah, I am on Facebook also, right? And this is my, let's say, email, 21stcenturytools2020@gmail.com, right? Mainly I use LinkedIn and Instagram. Yeah, if you want to contact me, I use all the social media, but the idea is that we can be together, that we must change the world. And we teachers have a big responsibility because we are in charge of the new generation to come. Yeah, and this new generation will need to face all these things. So start acting now, please, okay? Thank you, International Internship University. Thank you, IIU. Thank you very much, all of you, for having me here today. And it's been a real pleasure for me. I'm really grateful for this possibility. And I really send you a big kiss from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Yes, I hope you have a wonderful day, right? And I hope to meet you soon again. Bye-bye.